In the days that followed, Jenny found herself drifting through life, numb with grief. Taehyung was there, offering comfort when she needed it, but she could see the distance growing between them too. He knew she was still in love with Jungkook, and it killed him to watch her suffer for someone else. I am sorry, Jenny whispered one night as they sat together in the quiet living room. Taehyung looked at her, confused for what? For dragging you into the mess. She said, her voice barely above a whisper. You deserve better than this. Taehyung's face softened, but there was a sadness in his eyes. We both knew it would not be easy. I don't know if I will ever be able to make this right, Jenny admitted, her heart heavy with guilt and regret. Taehyung sighed, pulling her into a gentle hug. Maybe we are not meant to fix it. Maybe we just need to survive it. And as they sat there, wrapped in each other's pain, Jenny couldn't help but wonder if Jungkook was right. Maybe something couldn't be fixed. Maybe love wasn't always enough. The house had never felt so empty. With each passing day, the weight of Jungkook's absence grew heavier, pressing down on Jenny's chest until breathing felt like a chore. She couldn't move forward, and her heart remained frozen in the moment she had betrayed him. Taeyang tried to carry on as usual, but even his footsteps seemed hesitant, as if he was afraid to make too much noise in the quiet house. The tension between them was undeniable. Despite his gentle attempts to comfort her, Jenny could found it harder to look him in the eyes. Every glance reminded her of what had happened between them, the moment that had destroyed everything. While Jenny wallowed in her regret, Jungkook was fighting his own battle. He had thrown himself into work, taking on more dangerous assignments, trying to drown out the voices in his head. The gang he had worked so hard to protect was now the only thing that kept him from completely losing control. But even that wasn't enough. One night, after a particularly brutal confrontation with a rival, Jungkook found himself standing by the edge of a river. The water was still reflecting the moonlight like a mirror. As he stared at it, his thoughts were torn between anger and sadness. He missed her. Despite everything, despite the betrayal, Jungkook couldn't deny that his heart still ached for Jenny. The nights he spent apart from her felt like an endless void, and even though the thought of her with Taeyang tore him apart, he couldn't erase the love he still felt for her. But trust, that was another matter entirely. He had always believed that love could conquer anything. That his bond with Jenny was strong enough to withstand any storm. Now he wasn't so sure what was love without trust. Maybe it's time to move on, he whispered to Nanite. Thought the words felt hollow. His phone buzzed, pulling him from his thoughts. It was one of his men, updating him on a new deal. With a heavy sigh, he turned away from the river and walked back to his car. He wasn't ready to face Jenny yet, not with the maze of emotions still swirling inside him. A glimpse of the past. Back at the house, Jenny wandered into the bedroom she and Jungkook had shared. The familiar scent of his lingered in the air, and it made her heart clench painfully. She ran her fingers over the bed edge, remembering the nights that they spent together about the future, their dreams, and how they built their life together. But those dreams seemed distant now, like they belonged to someone else. A photo on the nightstand caught her eye. It was of them, taken just a few months ago, smiling and carefree during one of their rare moments of peace. The memory of that day rushed back to her, bringing with it a wave of emotion that nearly knocked her off her feet. She had been so sure of their love back then, so confident that they could everyone anything together. Now all she could see was the broken man she had left behind, the one whose trust she had shattered. She picked up the photo, her tears falling onto the glass frame. "I'm sorry, Jungkook," she whispered through the apology, felt like it would never be enough. Later that evening, Taeyang found Jenny sitting on the back porch, staring at the sky. The tension between them had become unbearable, but he knew they couldn't keep avoiding the inevitable. Jenny, he said softly as he sat down beside her. She glanced at him briefly, but didn't say anything. I can't keep pretending like everything fine, Taeyang continued, his voice thick with emotion. I know you are hurting, and I know it's because of Jungkook. Jenny closed her eyes, the weight of his words settling over her like a heavy blanket. I don't know what to do, Tai. I feel like I have lost everything. Taeyang hesitated before speaking again. Do you? Do you regret what happened between us? Her eyes stood open, meeting his gaze. She could see the pain in his expression, the uncertainty that had been growing since the night of the kiss. Taeyang had been patient, gentle, and understanding, but even he had his limits. I don't regret caring for you, Jenny whispered, her voice barely audible, but I regret the way it hurt Jungkook. I never wanted to hurt either of you. Taeyang's heart clenched at her words. He had hoped deep down that maybe she could say something else, something that would give him hope that she feels something real for him, but instead all he could feel was the growing distance between them. He reached for her hand, holding it gently in his. Jenny, I love you. I have loved you for a long time, but I don't want to be the reason you lose Jungkook. Her eyes filled with tears as she looked at him. Tai, I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything, he replied softly, his thumb brushing over the back of her hand. I just want you to be happy, even if that means stepping back. The weight of his words hung in the air, and Jenny could feel the depth of his sacrifice. Taeyang was willing to let her go, to let her choose Jungkook, even if it meant breaking his own heart in the process. Days passed, and the tension in the house remained thick. But one evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Jenny heard the familiar sound of a car pulling into the driveway. Her heart leaped in her chest, and she rushed to the window, barely daring to hope. It was Jungkook. He stepped out of the car, his face as a marked and unbearable emotion. His eyes were dark, the weight of the past few weeks clearly etched into his features. As he walked towards the house, Jenny felt her heart race, torn between hope and fear. When he finally stepped inside, the air between them felt electric, charged with unspoken words and emotion. Neither of them moved, both frozen in the moment. Jungkook, Jenny whispered, her voice breaking. I didn't know if you were coming back. He looked at her, his eyes filled with a mix of pain and longing. I wasn't sure if I should. The silence that followed was deafening. Jenny's mind raced, unsure of what to say or how to explain the mess they had all found themselves in. She wanted to throw herself into his arms, to beg for his forgiveness, but she didn't know if he was ready to hear it. I read you later, she finally said, her voice trembling. I understand if you don't want to stay, but I need you to know how much I regret what happened. Jungkook's jaw clenched, and he took a deep breath. You regret it, or do you regret that I found out? The sharpness of his words cut through her, and she flinched. I regret everything, she whispered. Hurting you was the worst mistake of my life. Jungkook's eyes softened, but the pain was still there. I don't know how to fix this, Jenny. I want to, but I don't know if I can ever trust you again. Tears welled up in her eyes as she stepped closer to him. I will do whatever it takes to earn your trust back. I can't lose you, Jungkook. I love you. For a long moment, Jungkook just stared at her, his emotions warring inside him. Finally, he reached out, cupping her face in his hands. His touch was gentle, but his eyes held the weight of the pain he had endured. I love you too, he whispered, his voice raw. But love isn't enough if there's no trust. Jenny's tears spilled over as she pressed her forehead to his, her heart breaking all over again. Please just give us a chance. Let me prove to you that I'm still the person you feel in love with. Jungkook closed his eyes, his breath shaky. He wanted to believe her, wanted to believe that they could rebuild what had been broken, but the fear of being hurt again lingered in the back of his mind. I don't know if I can, he admitted softly, his voice barely above a whisper. As the night stretched on, the two of them remained locked in an embrace, unsure of where to go from here. Jungkook's love for Jenny was undeniable, but so was the hurt that had been caused. And as they stood at the crossroads of their relationship, both of them knew that the path ahead would be anything but easy. Would their love be enough to overcome the wounds of the past, or had the damage already been done? Only time would tell. The air in the house was thick and tension. Jenny sat in her room, staring blankly at the floor, her thoughts consumed by the turmoil she had created. Taehyung's thought unexpected had awoken feelings in her she had not allowed herself to explore. The guilt weighed heavily on her chest, but it was nothing compared to the storm that was about to come. Jungkook had returned, but something was different this time. His demeanor was colder, his eyes harder. It felt as thought the man she had known, the one who had loved her fiercely, was gone, replaced by someone consumed with an unspoken plan. Jenny had no idea that Jungkook's return wasn't a simple reunion. It was the beginning of something much darker.